Today, we're breaking down And Just Like That, Season 3, Episode 12, the finale that pushed Miranda to the brink and changed how we see her forever. It was supposed to be the perfect Thanksgiving dinner. But instead, it turned into one of the most shocking, disturbing, and unforgettable moments in the entire history of And Just Like That. Fans expected heartfelt speeches, laughter, and the warmth of family. What they got instead was chaos, humiliation, and a scene so outrageous that it left viewers speechless. Miranda, once the powerhouse lawyer who spoke with authority and confidence in Sex and the City, is now on her knees, surrounded by disaster, desperately trying to keep it all together as her Thanksgiving spirals into madness. This is the bathroom dinner scene that everyone is talking about, and it is more than just gross comedy. It is a symbol of Miranda's journey, her struggles, and the broken promises of what her life was supposed to be. The episode titled Party of One sets the stage for what should have been a celebration of gratitude and connection. Miranda has carefully prepared a lavish Thanksgiving feast, trying to recreate the kind of sophisticated gathering she once admired, echoing the elegance of Carrie's soirees from the past. For Miranda, this wasn't just about food, it was about proving something to herself, to her friends, and to her fractured family. That she could still be the anchor, the hostess, the dependable one who could hold her world together. But almost from the very beginning, cracks start to show. Guests cancel at the last minute, leaving empty chairs and awkward silences. The festive atmosphere begins to dissolve into tension, and the carefully built illusion of perfection starts to collapse. Still, Miranda tries to hold her head high. She pours wine, makes polite conversation, and tells herself that this evening will not be ruined. But what follows is perhaps one of the most humiliating plot turns in the entire franchise. The bathroom scene. It begins innocently enough with the introduction of an eccentric guest named Epcot, a young man whose parents are self-proclaimed Disney obsessives. His presence already feels out of place at Miranda's carefully curated table, but it becomes catastrophic when his severe cheese intolerance collides with the Thanksgiving menu. As plates are passed around and food is served, disaster strikes. Within minutes, the meal turns into mayhem, and Miranda's elegant dinner transforms into one of the most grotesque spectacles ever shown on And Just Like That. Toilets overflow. Guests are horrified, and Miranda, the once fierce voice of reason, is left on her hands and knees in the bathroom, desperately trying to fix the mess as everything falls apart around her. What makes this scene so brutal isn't just the physical chaos, it's the symbolism. For years, Miranda was the character who could hold her own, who fought back, who challenged Carrie, Charlotte, and Samantha with sharp wit and unshakable logic. She was the woman who balanced career, love, and motherhood with a kind of raw honesty that made fans respect her. But here, in this final season, she's reduced to a caricature, cleaning up after strangers while her friends slip away. For some fans, this is the ultimate betrayal of Miranda's legacy. For others, it's a darkly comic reflection of how even the strongest among us can find ourselves buried in the mess of life, both literally and figuratively. The bathroom Thanksgiving isn't just about bad food and clogged toilets, it's about broken expectations. Miranda wanted this dinner to prove her maturity, her stability, her newfound happiness with joy. But instead, it revealed how fragile her peace really is. And when we see her standing in that ruined space, surrounded by embarrassment, the show is forcing us to ask, is this really Miranda's ending? Or is this just another cruel joke played at her expense? As the disastrous Thanksgiving spirals out of control, what becomes painfully clear is that Miranda's humiliation is not an isolated event, but rather the culmination of her entire journey in And Just Like That. For 2 seasons, viewers have watched her stumble through uncomfortable romances, awkward identity shifts, and clumsy attempts at self-discovery. From the unpopular storyline with Che Diaz to the unraveling of her marriage with Steve, Miranda's arc has often felt like a cruel dismantling of the strong, brilliant woman fans once admired. And now, in Season 3, Episode 12, the bathroom scene feels like the final nail in the coffin. The symbolism is loud and merciless. Miranda, once a high-powered attorney who argued cases with fire in her voice, is now literally on the floor, surrounded by filth, trying to clean up a mess she didn't create. It is heartbreaking to watch because beneath the absurdity lies a character whose dignity has been stripped away, one plot twist at a time. Yet, If we look deeper, there's something profoundly human about this collapse. Life rarely gives us the endings we plan for, and Miranda's Thanksgiving dinner is a vivid reminder of that. She wanted control. She wanted to showcase her stability, but chaos came knocking at her door anyway. And in that chaos, she was forced to confront a truth. You cannot curate perfection, no matter how hard you try. The raw turkey, the overflowing toilets, the ruined table, all of it is a metaphor for the unpredictability of adulthood and the futility of chasing after appearances. Miranda's embarrassment is exaggerated, yes, but it is also a mirror for the audience, reflecting the ways we all struggle to keep it together when life refuses to cooperate. The pain of this moment is heightened by the absence of her closest friends. Carrie, Charlotte, and the others who once stood by her side are not there to help her pick up the pieces. Carrie does eventually show up, but even then, she seems more like an observer than a savior. It's a deliberate choice by the writers, reminding us that Miranda's struggle is hers alone. She has to endure the humiliation, she has to face the consequences of her own choices, and she has to find a way to reclaim her dignity without the safety net of her friends. And that, in its own twisted way, might be the point. The Miranda we once knew was fearless in the face of life's challenges, and this finale forces her to dig deep and find that resilience again, even if it means clawing her way back from one of the most degrading scenes in the series. But here's the irony. As devastating as this bathroom Thanksgiving is, it does not break Miranda. Instead, it transforms her. After the chaos settles, after the humiliation has passed, she still finds joy, not in the approval of her guests, not in the illusion of a perfect dinner, but in the simple comfort of sharing pie with joy. This quiet ending for Miranda may not be the triumphant victory fans were hoping for, but it is a small, tender reminder that love and acceptance can grow even in the most disastrous circumstances. And that is the paradox of Miranda's story. Her lowest moment becomes the foundation for her happiness. She may never return to the fierce, commanding lawyer of Sex and the City, but she emerges from the wreckage with something more fragile, yet perhaps more real: peace. While Miranda and Carrie carry the emotional weight of the finale, the supporting characters also receive moments that reveal the show's larger message, that life rarely unfolds as we imagine, yet there is beauty in the imperfect. Charlotte, forever the traditionalist, has always clung to the idea of family dinners, picture-perfect gatherings, and living a life that mirrors her carefully crafted expectations. But in the finale, even Charlotte is forced to release her grip on the fantasy she has chased for years. After all the chaos of Thanksgiving, Charlotte makes a bold choice. She cancels her plans entirely and instead leans into something more intimate and real. With Harry, she chooses romance over obligation, tenderness over tradition. Their decision to stay home together is not the grand family moment Charlotte once envisioned, but it is authentic. It is her way of admitting that sometimes love is found not in the image we present to the world, but in the private, messy, deeply personal choices we make with the people who truly matter. Her quiet acceptance is a powerful contrast to the Charlotte we first met, the woman who once obsessed over appearances, who once believed life's success was measured by ticking off boxes: husband, children, stability. Here, she learns that imperfection can be just as fulfilling. Then there is LTW, whose arc in the finale delivers both humor and growth. Throughout the season, she has battled professional expectations, family struggles, and the constant fear of not being enough. Her humorous confession of having a crush on her colleague Marion might seem like a light subplot, but it is actually a window into the deeper insecurities she carries. Instead of hiding, she voices it openly, and in doing so, she forces her husband Herbert to confront the reality of their marriage. What follows is one of the most tender payoffs in the finale. Herbert, who has at times been aloof and distracted, steps up in an unexpected way. He chooses not to lecture her or dismiss her feelings, but instead proves his love through action, by cleaning up after Thanksgiving, by standing beside her in her mess rather than against her. Their relationship, which has weathered so many storms, lands in a place of renewed intimacy. It is proof that honesty, even when uncomfortable, can strengthen rather than destroy. Anthony, too, is given a moment that reflects the bittersweet humor of "and just like that." His relationship with Giuseppe has always felt uneven, even comedic. But in the finale, it reaches its breaking point. The pie-in-the-face scene may appear ridiculous, even childish, but beneath the slapstick is a serious truth. Anthony is grappling with what it means to love someone younger, someone who may not yet carry the same maturity or patience that he does. It is a reminder that love, no matter how passionate, often demands compromise. And while Anthony may roll his eyes or grow frustrated, the finale suggests that his bond with Giuseppe is not shallow. Their love survives the chaos because it is rooted not in fantasy, but in acceptance of each other's flaws. And then there is Sema, who continues to shine as one of the most intriguing additions to Carrie's circle. Unlike Charlotte or Miranda, Sema has never pretended to crave the perfect family or the perfect ending. She knows who she is, she knows what she wants, and she is unafraid to claim her joy. In the finale, her gluten-free pie becomes more than just a quirky detail. It becomes a symbol of the way she has learned to adapt without bitterness. Sharing that pie with her soulmate, a man she may never marry but will always love, Sema demonstrates a kind of acceptance that the others are still struggling to find. Her story reminds us that fulfillment does not always come wrapped in convention. Sometimes it looks like friendship, freedom, and love without labels. Each of these characters, Charlotte, LTW, Anthony, Sema, represents a piece of the puzzle. Their journeys may not be as dramatic as Miranda's collapse or as symbolic as Carrie's acceptance, but together they weave the fabric of the finale. And what the finale ultimately tells us is that life is not about achieving the fantasy we grew up believing in. It is about learning to live within the imperfections, the unexpected, and even the disappointments. Whether it's Charlotte embracing intimacy over appearances, LTW rediscovering the strength in her marriage, Anthony enduring Giuseppe's immaturity, or Sema rejecting the need for a traditional ending, each story whispers the same truth. Happiness comes not from control, but from surrender. And in this way, their arcs echo Carrie's final lesson, that the greatest relationship we can have is with ourselves, and the greatest joy comes from choosing to embrace life exactly as it is. The ending of And Just Like That season. 3 episode 12 leaves us with an unforgettable silence, one that speaks louder than words. After the chaos of Thanksgiving night, after Miranda's breakdown in the bathroom, and after Carrie's unexpected moment of grace, the story settles into a strange calm. But within that calm lies something deeply unsettling, the realization that nothing will ever be the same again. Miranda knows she cannot go back to the woman she once was, yet she is terrified of moving forward into the unknown. The bathroom scene wasn't just an embarrassing moment, it was a breaking point, a reminder that she has been living on autopilot, trying to please everyone but herself. For Carrie, the night revealed her deepest vulnerability, her fear of being left behind in a city and a life that is constantly shifting without her permission. And for Charlotte, her attempt to hold everything together finally showed cracks, because even the strongest among them cannot save everyone. The Thanksgiving table, which began as a symbol of togetherness, ends as a haunting reminder of distance. Every smile feels strained, every toast feels forced, and every goodbye carries the weight of unspoken truths. As the women walk away from the night, each carrying their own quiet storm, the audience is left questioning what moving on really means. Is it about forgiving others, or is it about forgiving yourself? Is it about holding tighter to the people who remain, or is it about learning to let go? The show doesn't hand us neat answers. It leaves us in the tension, in the gray space where real life exists. That's why this bathroom Thanksgiving scene has already become one of the most talked about moments of the series. Because it isn't just about a ruined dinner, it's about the raw, unfiltered mess of being human. And maybe, just maybe, that's the point.